with Logan Hall. It's life, it's business, it's lifeness. Live from the StriveVenta.com studios, here's Logan Hall.
Actually, how weird is it to hear myself introduce myself? My name is Jim Sharp, and I'm filling in for Logan Hall today on Lifeness with Logan Hall. It's life, it's business, it's lifeness. And I normally do a syndicated national radio show, but Logan and I have been friends for a while, and he asked if I could fill in for him today, and I said, yeah, heck yeah, I'll do that. You bet, no problem. As a matter of fact, I was with Logan and did his very first test show with him, so I think I know a little bit about lifeness. And, you know, maybe the lifeness concept hasn't gone exactly the way I would take the lifeness concept, but that's why I agreed to fill in, to right the ship, to take it. It's drifted out of the lane the way I would see things being done. No, I'm kidding. I'm glad that I can be here to help out Logan, and I'm glad you're listening today. We're gonna talk about some stuff that seems like it's black magic or something. What I'm talking about is marketing, but marketing anymore has to include a web presence for people. You cannot avoid being on the internet. I forget what the statistic is now. People are 30 times more likely to find you on the internet than they are to look in the yellow pages. And if you're anything like me, you get the yellow pages, you get the white pages, and it goes right in the recycle bin anymore. No offense to anybody who still uses a yellow page, but you take a look sometimes, and I'm like, what's this? What is this garbage somebody left on my front stoop? So you have to be on the web. That is the deal. So I thought today we would talk a little bit about small-scale marketing and some guerrilla marketing here on Lifeness with Logan Hall. Joining me is a good friend of mine and a guy that's by my side every day when I do my radio show. He's the executive producer of my show, which is called America Continues. It's on USA Radio Networks. James Allen. But James Allen is more than just my producer. James Allen has also helped me with my marketing for a long time. And James, I know one of the things that you and I we kind of joke back and forth about is social media. Like I was on Facebook pretty early on, and I got into Twitter, I think in like 2009 or maybe 2010, something like that. And I've always enjoyed being on there, but I always kid you because you actually built a Pinterest page for me. Now, so let's talk about social media, because social media really is taking over the internet. I mean, social media has so much weight and depth on the internet now that you almost can't avoid being on social media. And frankly, you don't want to avoid things like Facebook, which is essentially building a free web page for your business or whatever. So let's start off with, how do you do it right? We'll get to that. But first off, what platforms do you think people should be on?
Starting off, I think probably the most important thing is that people have a blog.
Really?
Before they do anything else, I think that's something that gets overlooked a ton. It's just having a blog.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how easy is that to set up a blog, though, really? I mean, can the average person sit down and go, oh, here you go. I'm going to spend 15 minutes and build me a blog? It's not quite that easy. So
not overall.
What's the best way to get started? I'll tell you, sometimes when I'm trying to accomplish something, it's funny. My wife actually sent me a picture yesterday of the laundry room and the lights back on in the laundry room. And she said, and it was funny, she'd never put in, one of those long fluorescent light bulbs before. And so she just went on YouTube and looked it up, and so that she wouldn't break the bulb. Is it as simple as just searching around on the internet? What's the best way for me to build an easy startup blog?
Yeah, I think that people should do research and should have a little bit of knowledge.
Okay.
You know that I like to really get deep into things, but that was because I had a general awareness that these things had to be done, and everyone else doing them took their time or didn't do it the way I liked. So, but understanding the basics of a blog and like what's the difference between WordPress.com and a self-hosted WordPress site where you buy a domain name through GoDaddy, or like Tumblr, or these other places where it's just like a blogging, like Blogger or
right.
So it's like, well, what's the difference in them all? And each one of those places has a different audience. So like Tumblr has like a built-in audience, a built-in demographic.
When I think of Tumblr, I think of my college-age daughter.
Yeah.
It's going to be younger people that are at Tumblr.
Right. So like fashion maybe, or like you're a band. having a Tumblr blog is really cool if you're a band.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're not a band, you're a plumber, or whatever,
Not as effective, maybe.
Yeah, right. So you probably do want to go with a WordPress site.
Right.
And it's, for the most part, it's WYSIWYG, as they say. What you see is what you get. So it's almost like typing a Word document, but you have to know some other things.
Yeah.
And the best place to get schooled on that, James?
Well, I think the best place to get schooled on it is at WordPress's website itself.
Okay.
Yeah, it teaches you it gives you some classes, resources on the best way of just posting. Like when you're posting about audio, you're going to embed audio in. Get a theme if you're going to do a lot of it or a blog setup that has a post type, which sounds technical, but it just basically tells the search engines like, hey, this is audio. This is audio posts. These are video posts. These are editorial type of posts or just blog updates. And that tells the search engines like, wow, this person is talking ways, right? Different types of media about this topic, and they're an expert in this topic. So if you're a plumber, you probably don't want to have a blog just about plumbing. That's kind of boring, maybe. Like,
well,
you might like a plumbing tips blog, or
right. Yeah, because that's what you're an authority on. But
separate from owning a business, though, like just for fun and recreation.
Right. Yeah, if you like to go out, if you like to shoot crossbows or something, I'd probably have a separate blog for the crossbows as opposed to a crossbow blog for my plumbing company. All right, so I'm sure there's a lot of tutorials out there on how to set up a WordPress site, and then you probably want to purchase a theme, which is going to run you what? How much a theme going to run you? Which is
there's a lot of free ones, and
which is just something you can just drop. You can just drop stuff into, right? Essentially.
Yeah, I would go to a website called Studio Press, and at that website you can go there and you can buy what's called a framework. That's just basically saying like the outside frame of your car.
Right.
That's what it is. The theme is the way it looks. So how they dress it up.
Gotcha.
And so this resource of this website is educational based. They're like the best, in my opinion, in setting up a website that's good for the search engines, good for people finding it. It loads fast. It's super simple. So the person who knows nothing about code can drag and drop stuff into place and is done correctly. So like the most popular SEO internet marketing guy is called Yoast on the internet. Most popular WordPress plugin creator ever. All he did was make WordPress plugins for a website, and he has over 32 employees nationally.
Wow.
Okay, he uses this framework. And so people who know complicated code also think it's a good idea as well.
It's good to have some people with some knowledge on your side. But, if you're a small business, it's not always easy to, have a whole team to pay. Of course, if you were looking to do something like that, my suggestion would be Striventa.com, which is where we broadcast from the Striventa.com studios. And they've helped me immensely with video and website stuff, and also, and some things that you don't even think of. Like I didn't, honestly, I didn't want to be on Google Plus. Because to me, it's just like one more thing to manage. But the truth is, I learned from James. That Google Plus is important because Google, owns the internet essentially, and you want to put stuff where they're gonna spend extra time searching for information. So and then of course there's some other things that are really important to do, which is like basically claiming your territory on the internet, through directories and whatnot. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that in just a little bit. And also, but I remember this, James. My first question was about social media, and you just blew me off completely. Blew me off completely.
It's an interview tactic, man. I thought I read from like one of your books. Oh, you haven't written any. That's right.
Oh, geez. Apparently, I'm not an authority on anything. But next, we'll talk a little bit about social media and how and why it's important to be on social media. What are the correct platforms to be on? And how do you do it right? I mean, how do you manage it? How do you juggle all that stuff while you're also running a business? Seems almost impossible, but we'll try and get some tips for you if you're a small business and how you can market yourself on the internet. I'm Jim Sharp filling in for Logan Hall. You're listening to Lifeness with Logan Hall. It's life, it's business, it's lifeness.
Hey guys, I'm here with a good friend of mine, John St. George, owner of Phoenix Carpet Water Restoration, home of the Spot Crew. John, tell us a little bit about your company.
Thanks, Logan. We are a locally owned carpet, tile, upholstery, and oriental rug cleaning company here in the Valley. We're happy to celebrate our 5-year anniversary, and we're giving 25% off to all new customers to call in at 602-319-8446.
So that phone number again, 602-319-8446, 602-319-8446. Call my buddy John for a free estimate today. Tell him Logan sent you.
Welcome back to Lifeness with Logan Hall. It's life, it's business, it's lifeness. I'm Jim Sharp, filling in for Logan Hall today, along with the executive producer and the online impact director. He's the executive producer of my show, my nationally syndicated radio show, which is called America Continues, and he's the online impact director for StriveVenta.com, where, of course, we do the show from the StriveVenta.com studios here, Lifeness with Logan Hall. We're talking about small-scale, maybe a little bit of guerrilla marketing here. We just talked about how to get yourself set up in a blog, and if you're listening to this on the Lifeness website, lifenesswithloganhall.com, rewind and catch the first part because it's really important. It is. But once you have a blog, and that's an important thing to have, there's some other things that you can do. And we'll talk about directories in a second, James, and we'll get to that in just a second. But what I think is important is how do you direct people to that blog? And that's where social media is so helpful. It's more than just, I love Facebook because I can see pictures of my grandkids on that live over in Oregon and stuff. It's more than just that. But you have to treat it differently than just a pure marketing tool, don't you?
Yeah, you really do. It's probably out of every single thing a person could do or be involved in nowadays, social media is the most important. It really is the new, as
for
they
marketing,
say, SEO, so to speak. Search engine optimization was always the technical term of how to trick Google into making your website show up faster or above other people. Mm-hmm. What a lot of people started doing was going to Google's website and just reading what they wanted them to do the whole time.
Yeah.
And then people started writing better content, and it's about who's an authority and how, who do you know the most about radio, Jim? Do you know the most about broadcasting and the history of it? And it's like, wow, he's really interesting, and you pull people in naturally, right?
Right.
Social media just hits that out of the park, like times 1,000.
Really? So
everyone has the ability to do that now in their own genre, their own context, so to speak.
Right. I know if you search my name on Google, and who doesn't like to Google themselves? It's so satisfying.
It's so fun.
Yeah, sometimes it's really not satisfying because I'm like, who the heck is that Jim Sharp? He teaches mathematics at some British university. I don't care about. And then there's the Jim Sharp who's the bull rider who does not have an E at the end of his name. Race it, Jim Sharp. He was a champion bull rider for years. So, but if you type in my name, what comes up first? My social media. I believe my Twitter account comes up first. My Facebook is in there somewhere. My website. And then actually there's some news in there about how I changed how my career has changed. I left a radio station and I started doing a national radio show, and so there's that kind of stuff pops up.
It changes every day too. It's weird on mobile. The first thing that shows up for you is your Twitter account.
Yeah,
because Google just started indexing, which means they're counting in their big assortment of web pages, your tweets.
Right.
And so you can just go left to right and see all the tweets that you wrote.
Right. And so
on here it doesn't do that on desktop. Was my point.
Right. Now if you search if you were to search, for instance, plumbing and Rochester, if you are a plumber in Rochester, you want to pop up first. You want to pop up first, but that takes some work. You can't just go and buy that to happen. Now you can do. I know there's pay-per-click and there's some other ways that you can show up in the ads section. It's kind of the yellowed off section that's either above the search results or off to the right of the search results. Yep. But you have to really essentially write good content consistently, and then the key is to get people to go and take a look at it, because Google also pays attention to who's reading stuff.
Yeah. And
how many visits websites get.
Yeah, how many clicks it gets, how long they stay.
Right.
And then where they go afterward. Did you compel someone to go to a site that maybe they weren't going to go to? They're like, I need to get my carpet cleaned. Do you tip carpet cleaners?
Right.
How to tip a carpet cleaner. The most popular blog post, this guy I worked with, who you know, Mike Sweet from Sweet Touch Carpet Cleaning. Not to give him a plug, but it's just, that's who he is.
Yeah.
Anyway, he had that blog post, and it was the most driven thing to his website. And it was because he would answer that question. And so one of his employees wrote a blog post, well, should I tip carpet cleaners?
Yeah.
And it's literally what people search into Google trying to find it.
Interesting.
And that changed my perspective personally into going, let's literally start trying to write the way not that the search engines want necessarily, but how people want. Because that's what the search engine is trying to do.
Right. No. Number one, not just the way search engines want, trying to beat the system, and not just what business owners want to tell about themselves, which is important,
yeah.
but what customers want to know.
Yeah,
that's the most
it.
important thing, because that's